Raj and ask him your question. I do ask that you don't get into some big, long story before your question, but you really be direct and make the best use of everyone's time. So be direct with your question, be straight to the point, and try not to get into a big, long story. All right, Arash, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, anything you want to touch on from last night before we jump into the first question?
You know, I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this. I always like going on my journey because life gives you great experiences. And I used to think, when I was struggling, I used to hide my self-image. I didn't want anyone to know that I had a weakness. Like I used to think that was a weakness, and boy, was I wrong. Your greatest insecurities become your greatest strengths when you really prioritize it. So I want everyone for a second who's on this, I want you to think of what you want the most. I want you to just put that in your mind. And I want you to understand that's meant to be fulfilled. But the reason it's not is because your image does not match it. And we've got to understand that first. The biggest thing that affects self-image from the beginning is decision making. If you don't get really good at being bold, being courageous, you're not going to get to where you want to go. I'm going to tell you that right now. And what happens, I was telling Mikey this morning, like, I'm so passionate about this because this is the core of an unbelievable life you can create. But it all comes down to stories and decision making. Like, I want you to think of everything good that has happened in your life. There was a story that you had connected to it. And what happens is every event, every circumstance that we have, and we have hundreds and hundreds of stories every day going on. The event or circumstance, your mind creates a meaning to it. And once your mind creates a meaning, positive or negative, it turns it over to your brain, and your brain turns it into a belief. It turns it over to a belief. And I work with a lot of single mothers. And I always tell them, they go, how they start the story, they go, Rosh, I'm a single mother. And I said, not to me, you're not. I said, I don't want you to use anything as a crutch. You're a single mother, use that as a badge of honor. And people, and you are doing the same thing because everybody is. Like, why did my life change so dramatically, so quickly? I changed my story. But the only way I could change my story is with intentionality. So we've got to really prioritize this or else you're going to have these subconscious blocks that are going to keep you from where you want to go. And I do not want you to have them. I want you to understand you do not have to struggle to create a breakthrough. And I want to say that again. You do not have to struggle to create a breakthrough. Breakthroughs happen and you skip levels by decision making from the person you want to be. And I want to congratulate all the people. We had a flood of people who enrolled yesterday and enrolled this morning. You change your identity in that moment. I told you guys yesterday that the minute you wait, you're going to go back to your old story. And one decision, you'll have no idea until you experience it yourself. But decision by decision is how you change your life. All right, Mike, I hope that activates people.
I think that is the perfect way to start. You know, we had probably 10 or 15 people join since I gave the little welcome. So I just want to say again, the way that you can ask a question with Arash is you click on the react button at the bottom of the Zoom screen and then raise hand. You'll be able to come on screen with him. If you're not able to come on screen, you can send me a message or put it in the chat and I will ask it for you. All right, David, you're up first.
Hey, how you doing, Arash?
Hey, I'm doing great, David. Good to see you.
Great to see you. We meet again.
Yes, we do.
So I want to say thank you so much. You definitely shifted me from yesterday, and I am forever grateful for all the value that you guys put out. It's absolutely just freaking amazing, the value you put out. It's absolutely astonishing. And I love all the material. But my question is, I'm going to make this quick, so I'm sure there's a bunch of people that have questions also. I don't think I fully understand intention and processes. No, it feels like I don't know how to implement the intention and processes correctly. What would be like one small step I could take to implement any type of intention, or even is intention part of a process?
Well, intention is really part of your self-image. You're creating you're operating with a lot of intentions unconsciously every day. So intention, I'll give you an example of a great intention. Today, I refuse to let anything from the outside control me. Do you see how I said it with energy? That's an intention. I'm going to think, feel, and act like the person who is achieving my goal. That's an intention. A process is you have to have a framework to create a process. So if you looked at the webinar you were on yesterday, I created a framework that created the process. Okay. So it's a few things you do to get to an outcome. So the morning routine is a process. How you take action is a process. Now, all of us have processes, some of them not so good. David, I'll give you an example. What I watch is people who make really bad decisions because they're not intentional. And they keep waiting till tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll do this. One of the key reasons why people stay stuck, there's two at the top of my mind right now, is number one, their image is too small for their dreams. And number two, they stay in comfort. They stay in comfort. And comfort is killing more dreams than anything else. And they're going to regret it, but they keep lying to themselves, right? But what if we just got intentional and we said, you know what? I'm going to make a commitment to create a world-class life. I'm just going to commit to doing the things that are going to create that. I'm going to start building identity-based behaviors. Well, that person is going to soar. Like if I shared a bunch of success stories, I have a ton more. But the one thing in common with all of those people is they made decisions. So for you, ask yourself, what type of decisions am I making? Am I making decisions based on circumstance, or am I making decisions based on desire? Most people, I will tell you, 98% of the people are making decisions based on circumstance. And then it's like you're running into a brick wall every day. Does that help?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely get that. It feels like I'm making decisions like almost 25-50 or 25-75. 25% is from my desire, and the other 75 is coming from my old programming.
Yeah. The key is, how do you change a program? You take action. That's how you change a program. Repetition. So any new thing I do, I change my identity. It could be the littlest thing. I change my identity. But most people do not prioritize their identity, so they keep creating the same results year after year. You know, most people are creating the same year 50 years in a row. That's what most people are creating. They're creating the same 50 years in a row. And I always tell people, God, if you guys only knew where I was, and if I can do it, anyone can do it. You know, we've got to understand. And I go back into what my mentor, Bob Proctor, told me when I first started working with him. Nobody wins unless they have a significant self-image. So like what I talked about yesterday is at the top of the list of the most important things any individual can intentionally develop. But they can do it, but you need to understand how to do it. That's what I didn't understand. I never had the direction. See, if I asked you guys right now, some of you are great. I see some people who are always on my webinars, okay? It doesn't mean they know how to change their image. It doesn't mean, it's not about information. And you guys got to get honest with yourself. I always say that because you know what made me win, David? I was so brutally honest with myself, and I was willing to do whatever it took. I wasn't willing to do what my results told me I could do. I was willing to take that next level. And those are the people that get rewarded. Isn't it crazy that 3% of the population earns 97% of the income when it should be 100% with all the power we have inside of us? But
Yeah, 100%.
Don't you ever think, like, why isn't it more people? Well, everything works by law. So as we shift our identity, we shift our life.
Mm-hmm. So one other question, would you suggest me reading, because I know you mentioned Maxwell Maltz, like really devouring that book and studying that book, Psycho-Cybernetics. Would you suggest Help the Identities read that book?
You know, I have a book that I'm giving everybody who's coming to my World Class Wealth. I actually have a book that is actually my favorite book on self-image, and it's called Mental Diets by Neville. It's very short, very impactful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that would be the book that I would recommend you study.
Okay.
Yeah. Arash, that quote you just shared, will you share it again?
Which quote?
The one you shared a couple.
What did I say? I don't remember.
I know, I'm like trying to remember it too.
Few of them.
Well, it might come back up, RS.
I don't know. I don't remember what I said.
All right, Paula, you're up next.
All right. Thanks, Arash.
Sure.
Hello, Arash, and hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much do this opportunity to ask you a question, which is
Sure.
like old.
Thank you.
And I want to say to everyone on the call, you know, I am working on my self-identity. It is not easy for me to unmute and to speak up. But I believe what Arash says, and I want success, so I'm pushing myself every time. And Arash, you talked yesterday about one of the regrets you had is that you wish you had worked for a whole year on identity.
Mhm.
That helped me a lot because I feel like that just shows me how important it is. And I feel like what I'm learning through everything that you give and your team gives is how to do that, how to work on identity. You have the steps. And I'm so excited to come and see you next week at the World Class Wealth. And my question for you is, can you share about the inner work that you did to love yourself more?
Yeah, I mean, that was quite a transformation for me. You know, when I was struggling, I didn't like myself that much. You know, I didn't hate myself, but I didn't love myself, if that makes sense. And I found out that, you know, taking it back 20 years, how important it was that I did it. And what I would do every day, and I share this with clients to do, is write out 10 things every day you're grateful about yourself. And then I made a rule, and I gave myself a command that I was never going to talk bad about myself, ever. And Paula, honest to God, like, God be my witness. 20 years since I made that rule, I've never talked bad about myself. You know, like, I took this so serious, this information. And I remember hearing this quote from Maxwell Maltz, and he said, every time you talk bad about yourself, you're chipping away at your identity. And those are my words, but that's the paraphrase of it. Bob used to tell me, would you let me come over to your house and hit you upside the head with a baseball bat? I said, no. He said, then stop doing it to yourself. You know? So I took this very seriously. And if I can get any message across to all of you, is you got to take your life more seriously. You know, playing small, you don't understand yourself. And for you, like, you're coming to your second World Class Wealth, you're in peak performers, like, you are doing everything that I did, you know, and you're going to win. I promise you're going to win so big. And I'm so proud of you because to me, you're already a winner. Like you're the top 1%. You may not know yet because you may not seen the results just yet. But if you do the deep work that you're doing, you're going to create so much freedom in your life. I will tell you that. I can see ahead for people. Like I can see people who don't make decisions. I don't push them on it because it's not my life, it's their life. The people I push are the people who want to be stretched, the people who really want to get to where they want to go. But if you don't want to make decisions, I can't help you. As much as I want to help you, I can't help you unless I can work deep with you. And a lot of people study this work intellectually. They know about it. You know what I always tell people, Paula? I said, if you know it so much, show me your results. And then they tell me their results. I said, you don't know it. You know about it because the results always tell us how well we understand it. And that was a message that my mentor told me early on. And I took it really like gospel, right? I was like, he's so right. I was one of those people who knew about it. But when I started becoming it and I started really understanding it, there's a great essay, The Common Denominator of Success. And Albert Gray writes this in this essay. He says that the common denominator of success is failures are unwilling to do the things that successful people do. Successful people don't want to do them either, but their results mean so much to them. Like for me, my results mean so much. I know today what I think, the type of actions I take are building my future results. So we create our self-image every day. So if you look just yesterday, and we observe and we say, let's look really at this honestly. What were the thoughts that I was thinking yesterday? What was the feelings I was feeling? And what type of actions that I took? That's the most honest assessment of the person you're becoming. So let's not lie to ourselves anymore. Let's do the work because you're going to get rewarded so greatly. What's the reward? Freedom. Like if you told me 20 years ago I would be living like I'm living right now, I would have never believed it. I wouldn't have believed it. Are you kidding me? Like I wouldn't have believed it. I would have hoped for it, but it's been the biggest message I could tell you, it's going to be so much bigger and better than you can ever imagine if you do the work. And you're going to spend the time anyway. So you might as well spend it being great. If you watch somebody's emotional state, they're always tired. They're yawning all the time. They have no juice. Self-image. Self-image. And so we want to shift that. Like I don't put myself around anyone who's not has juice in them. I'm like super passionate. You've been around me, you know that. Like I'm super passionate. And I have a lot of fire in me. But you know what the greatest thing that I just discovered recently? Something I awoke inside of me years ago. That took me from failure to success will never die now. Will never die. I woke something inside of me that I let out because I wasn't who I am now even a year ago. I keep getting better and better. That's the whole deal. We want to keep getting better and better. If we jump, we want to jump higher. If we run, we want to run faster. If we sell, we want to sell more. So we want to start taking ourselves and really bringing out the potential that God has given us. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Sure. My pleasure.
Thank you, Paula. Jill, you're up next.
Hi, Arash. Good morning.
Good morning, Jill. How are you?
Great. Hey, I've got an identity question for you.
Right.
Is it possible to successfully embody two different images or identities concurrently and successfully? In a couple of weeks, I'm heading out to our lighthouse. I'm going to be out there for about the next 6 months, and I want to really deliver and serve in that role. But I've already made the decision that I'm going to be pivoting in a new direction, and I'm already kind of connecting to that. So can I deliver and serve in a high way and still be, growing into that new role that I'm going to be taking on.
Yeah, we have different parts of our identity. Like you have one around money. At the same time, you have one around health. So we have different parts of our identity. Like there's parts of your identity right now that are really strong. There's other parts that you're running from. I encourage you not to run because that's the greatest hidden commitment that's keeping you away from what you want the most. I will tell you what you want the most is the part of your identity that you need to focus on.
Okay.
Okay, there's a mental equivalent of that person that you don't have inside of you. Now, if you already had it, it's not that you don't have it inside of you. You haven't built it as the dominant image. You haven't awoken that part of you. But if you, and here's where I can give you the fact about that. If you did, you'd already have that result. Okay. So every goal I set, I know I don't have the confidence yet, or else I would have achieved it. Confidence is so important. That's part of your identity. And I know that doesn't mean I'm not going to get the confidence or you're not going to get the confidence. It's really based on the choices and decisions you make. So I want you to ask yourself, what decisions am I making? Am I negotiating with myself or am I all in? But you have to give yourself true serve, no lying about it, okay? And
am I holding myself back by saying this won't happen until 6 months? I could already.
Oh, of course you are. First of all, that's going to make it not happen in 10 years. See, the time is a tool. And the only way we create is in this present moment. So when we say 6 months, you just shut off your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind does not know the future or the past. That's why you have to bring the future in the present, and you've got to act like 6 months is right now. Do you remember yesterday? I don't know if you were on the webinar yesterday, but I future paced everybody. I took everyone 6 months in the future. And I said, I want you to get in the emotional state of how you would feel. Then I want you to feel like that right now. But we've got to have the dominant feeling. So I never said, God, it's going to be 2 years from now. 2 years is right now. I have to live 2 years right now, or else I'm pushing it away. I'm separate from it. So my goal is on this frequency. I'm on this frequency. It's impossible to attract the good that I desire. But when I say, God, it feels so amazing what I achieved, and I bring 6 months into the now, that's when you're aligned with it.
So I can bring that energy and that focus even into my other roles and responsibilities.
You have to do it in everything. Creation works the same every single way. Every single way. That's a gap in your programming that we have to shift. That is keeping you. You remember yesterday I said, can you all relate? You work really hard at something, yet there's this invisible ceiling deep inside of you holding you back. That's what it is. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Stacy, you're up next, and I also want to give you a big congratulations.
Am I unmuted now? Okay. Thank you.
What do you mean a big congratulations? What's the congratulations?
Well, to speak to the point of identity, I was just awarded one of the largest business awards in the state of Michigan on Tuesday.
Yes. That's amazing.
Thank you. And I had 2 comments to say about that. For anybody on this call who is maybe on the fence about doing coaching instead of just gathering information, I want to say that you want to do the coaching, because I gathered information for a long time. And then I found coaching with Arash and his team, and it has really just made a huge difference for me and was a big part of my ability to win that award on Tuesday. And also, my identity previous to this would have been too embarrassed to tell anybody that I won the award, and would have been maybe even too embarrassed to accept the award. And so I'm reveling in this experience. I told my dad this morning I'm still on cloud 9, and it happened on Tuesday. So I just want to give everybody encouragement to take that step. You can't afford not to do it. You really
No,
can't.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy for you. I mean, but you're doing the
Thank
work.
you.
Once again, just like I was telling Paula, you're doing the work. The work
Thanks.
always works.
Yeah.
But imagine if you kept gathering information where you'd be.
Yeah, my results would have been a little better, like incrementally better. And I think I heard you say one time that you talked to Bob and said, Bob, could anybody do this without coaching? And Bob said they'd have to be extremely disciplined for 10 years to get the results. And, why do you want to wait 10 years? I don't want to wait 10 years. I want
No.
to be able to do more faster. But I do have a question. So, and thank you to everybody for your congratulations and support. I've really been accepting the do it now. And my question about do it now is, does that also create a domino effect in your vibration or your frequency? Because what I'm noticing is I'm doing it now on the tasks or goal achieving activities that I have for every day. But now I'm seeing that other things are happening spontaneously that I didn't even have on my agenda or on my list. So is that,
Yeah.
am
of
I
course.
articulating that the right way?
No, everything, you want to remember, everything affects everything else. So every discipline we do or don't do affects everything else. So when you make doing it now, you got to understand you're on the extra mile. Do you know how few people do it now? Like you're talking about 1% of the population. So there's not many people on that do it now frequency. So I can tell you it absolutely affects everything else. But everything we do or don't do affects everything. So when we think I'm going to procrastinate, oh my God, people have no idea what they did to themselves. They have no idea. They have no idea how much they took themselves backwards. Everything happens by energy. Everything happens by law. So do it now is a different energy. Think how good you feel when you do it now. So what did you just do? You just filled your heart with a heightened identity. Identity happens so fast. So we can look at identity a couple different ways. If you look at where you are, we could say, I don't like where I am. Let's just say, I'm not saying you're saying that, but let's just say somebody. Or we could look at where we can go the positive side. We can have the negative and the positive, right? The beautiful part about this is I choose to look at everything from the positive. I said, God, if one person can do it, I can do it. I just got to get my identity right. I just got to work on that. I just got to keep working on the identity, right? And so if one person can get there, so can you. See, magic happens. You didn't get that award by accident. You're getting rewarded. So that's why one of the best things that you can make, there's a few things that I could tell you that are huge for identity shifts. Number one is making the move before you're ready. That is a huge one. Number two, never letting the outside control you, being divorced from the outcome. You're going to attract things at warp speed. Number two is very hard in the beginning, but then it becomes a part of you, just like anything. It becomes automatic. So that's what you want to do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for everything. I'm
My
walking
pleasure.
cash, so we're going to go off camera, but we're still listening in. I just
All right,
really
wonderful.
appreciate all of you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks.
Miriam, you're up next.
Good morning, Arash.
Good morning, Miriam.
So thank you for yesterday. I appreciate the advice you gave. So the question I have today is when I'm doing my every 3-hour affirmation, and you said to do it for 2 minutes and then visualize it for 1 minute. Now, the visualization, is it to just feel as if you already have it or see yourself in a certain spot?
No, it's all feeling. Feeling trumps everything. Like,
Okay.
what would you feel if you already had it? Now, what I'll tell you that I want you to do, you're too mechanical right now.
Oh, okay.
I want you to let go more. I want you to let go. Be free.
Okay.
Okay? There's no wrong way to do it. What if I told you that? By doing it is better than not doing it. But the less mechanical we are, the more aligned we become. I don't want you to be mechanical. I remember when I first started learning how to meditate, and I'd have my eyes closed. I'd be like, am I doing it right? Oh no, I'm thinking of this thought. Like I was super mechanical, so I got nothing out of it, right?
Yeah.
I used to do this work when I was losing, super mechanical. But then when I let go and I just said, screw it. Like, I'm going to be me. And that's when everything started happening.
Okay.
So I want you to be less mechanical, and I want you to get more connected to what it feels like, the emotional state.
Yes.
The universe responds to our emotional state more than anything else. Like somebody could be studying this mechanically and get no improvement in their results. Why? Because they're studying it like when they were in school.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to become it. I said this yesterday. And ask yourself, is this me? Truly ask yourself what I'm about to say. Everyone wants to have more without being more. I'm going to do this when this happens. Nope. Not going to happen. You have to become a lot more if you want to have a lot more. If you want a little more, you got to become a little more. But the doing is the easiest part when we become more. So the people, like I said it earlier, like I know what happens. Like I look at Paula and Stacy and you as an example. You're just starting in my quantum leap coaching, but like, look at Paula and Stacy's energy. There's a reason.
Yeah.
But then there's people who say, you know what? I'm going to wait. I told you guys this yesterday. When you wait, you lost.
Yeah.
And I could say that with great authority because I used to do that. But I always say, don't follow my losing habits when I was losing. Like I could show somebody how to switch within moments. But you got to respect yourself enough to be willing to do things for yourself. Okay. Everything is about self-respect. And every time you procrastinate, you say, tomorrow I'm going to do it. Or when I'm ready, I'm going to do it. You don't respect yourself. And then you're running into this brick wall every day. Make sense?
It does. It does make a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Miriam. Araj, I have a question from the chat.
Sure.
You said yesterday you were never meant to earn worthiness. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, it's part of our identity. It's part of what God has given us. Like we're divinely worthy. We're divinely wealthy too. So you just accept worthiness. A lot of people will come to me, Mike, and they'll say, can you help me with worthiness? Which I can. I can give them techniques and processes. But the first thing I tell them, you're already worthy. You just haven't accepted it. The only thing with worthiness is we have to accept it. But you don't accept it intellectually, you accept it emotionally. I always tell people, whatever you believe in, I believe in God, so I use God. I said, imagine if you saw yourself how God saw you. Then I'll say, because I'm an animal lover, I'll say, imagine if you just saw yourself how your dog sees you. You would be so much further ahead. We have to understand, we have to create an enormous image of ourselves. We have to work with a much bigger idea of ourselves. And you will know what idea of yourself you're working with by how you make decisions, by your results, by the type of goals you set. Like if you don't have a big goal, understand you have a little image. That's why big goals are so important. I always say the type of goals people set will tell me the type of image they have. So we've got to stop letting our past dictate who we can be. And I tell you that, and a lot of people are coming from their past. Your past is dead. You remember I was telling you stories? In the beginning, every one of you has been coming from a story. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. I told you stories turn into beliefs. Our standard creates our story creates our identity, and our identity creates our results. So all of you have a story. I have people who come to me, Arash, I'm in the worst spot, and I shift them. Why? Because I don't listen to their story. I only listen to where they want to go. And then I show them how to get to where they want to go. I just deconstruct it backwards. That's what I want you to do for yourself. Bet on yourself.
All right, one more from the chat, and then we're going to get back to live questions. What do you mean standard always wins?
Standard always wins. That's what I mean. We always are in harmony with the standards we set. Everyone has a standard. So if you want to know standards, I remember, I've had this happen so many times, but I remember I was going to visit Mikey in Dallas. We had a business meeting, and I hated the hotel we were staying at. I just could not stand it. There was like cigarette butts everywhere. And I remember telling my wife, we're going to go stay at another hotel. And she's like, we're only here for a day and a half. I just couldn't do it. Like, it was driving me nuts. Well, we ended up going to this hotel, and I called my brother and I said, he's really connected in the hotel space. So he's like, go to this hotel. So we went there, 45-minute drive away from where my meeting was. Well, that night, we go to the bar and just have dinner. And I met somebody that, you know, I wouldn't say I look up to him, but like, I'm a huge sports fan. And I met the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. And we had the best talk. And I was talking to a multi-billionaire, and I was asking him advice. Well, he ended up paying for my dinner. We spent 15 minutes together, and he gave me some of the best advice, and I started implementing it. Well, if I didn't have a standard, I wouldn't have had it. Like, your life is a standard. Your identity is based on the standard and commitments you hold of yourself. When you operate with a high standard, you always win. That's why standard always wins. You draw a line in the sand, and you never deviate from that line, regardless of the outside results. Most people, and you could ask yourself, is this me? Is this me? Most people bring their standard of living down to their current results. People with high standards bring their results up to the standard of living they want. And that's what I did. And that's what I show our clients to do. So nobody can come to me and say, Arash, I don't have the money. You know what I say to you? You don't want it bad enough. Go find the money. You are a creative being. So don't ever, like I have a rule with my clients, never do that, because it's not accurate. What you said is, I'm not good enough. That's what you said. And I won't believe it to any single person who ever tells me that, because when you can make a decision, if you really want something, your mind will focus only on how you can do it. And if you don't believe me on this, think of a time you really wanted something, but you didn't have the money. I want you to think of that. And then you found the money. And I always use this example with clients. It's a little morbid, but it makes the point. I said, let's say your child broke their arm and you didn't have insurance, but you had to come up with $20,000. Would you do it? Everyone goes, oh yeah, I'd have it within a few hours. Then I say, why don't you respect yourself enough to do that for you? Do you ever think about that? So you might wonder how much you're actually hiding and holding back. And that's the greatest hidden commitment to keep you from where you want to go. Hey, it's Arash, and I've got something for those of you who've been asking, Arash, how can you coach me? How can I work with you? How can I get closer to what you're doing? Whether you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, or just someone hungry, I want to help you. And here's how. There's a link below this video. I want you to click it right now. All I'm asking for is your name, your phone number, and one question. What do you really want? How do you really want to live? That's it. Fill it out, and you're giving me permission to personally reach out to you. When you do, I'm going to connect with you and create a game plan. Now listen, if you've been watching my content and you're ready for a breakthrough, or you're already winning big and you're just obsessed with getting better, going even further, I'm the coach. We're in a new era, and when you click that link, you're saying, Arash, I'm giving you permission to stretch me, to push me, to bring me upwards. And I promise you, if you're ready, this will change your life. So stop waiting, click the link, fill out the form, do it right now, and I'll be in touch.